Today we're going to talk about something a little more serious of a topic, I guess, although for me it's pretty not that bad. I'm pretty open about it, but we're going to talk about boozing and drugging. Well, and more specifically, staying sober on the road. I've talked about this a lot. For those of you that know me, I've been sober for years now. I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't smoke, nothing like that. But I do still tour. And been touring for a very long time, and sometimes, not so much now, but before, it used to get difficult kind of being on the road and being around so much alcohol and people partying and stuff. But the reason I want to bring this up, we're filming this live on Twitch in the moment, YouTube later, but this was actually something that was brought up on our Discord server. If anybody's watching this and wasn't aware or you want to join, we do have a Discord server that has quite a few thousand people on it and people talking all the time on a lot of different channels. I'll link it below if anybody wants to join, but we do have a sober lifestyle channel on our Discord server for anybody that just wants to talk or ask questions or anything like that. And somebody yesterday brought up, does anyone know if Tank has discussed the difficulty or lack thereof staying sober while being the tour manager for Electric Callboy? Seems that there is a lot of alcohol consumption in their YouTube vlogs. I'm interested in hearing if that was difficult for him. So we could specifically talk about touring with Electric Callboy, but I kind of just want to talk more touring in general first. But before we go any further, I just want to take the next minute or two to talk to you about the sponsor of today's video, our friends over at Ekster. Now, if you're not familiar with Ekster, they were originally founded over in the Netherlands by a couple guys that were just tired of their big traditional bulky wallets. And not only have they gone on to make sustainable wallets, bags, and accessories, but they even made the world's very first trackable wallet. In fact, let me hold on here. It's the wallet that I use every day. I've actually been using it since before I even made this video. Let me show it to you really quick. So this is the Parliament wallet. This is the wallet that I use daily that I replaced my old wallet with. It's about half the size. It's super slim and sleek. And as we talked about sustainability earlier, this is made with premium leather that is environmentally certified. It's really nice, comes in a bunch of different colors. The wallet actually holds up to 12 cards. On this side over here, I keep my IDs. I got my passport card, my health insurance. There's another pocket on the back for cash or anything else you want. And then this compartment right here holds all your credit cards. And it is RFID blocking. So you can make sure your stuff's not going to get stolen. If you need to use your cards, you hit the button, they pop out. It's easy to grab and then easy to put back. It's awesome. This guy here is the tracker. On the top, you can see that's the little black spot. That is solar power. And this thing holds a ridiculous charge with barely any light. You can track it worldwide. So if you leave your wallet anywhere, you can find it with the app that you register once you get this. And the coolest feature, you can find your wallet from the app on your phone or your phone from this thing. If you lose your phone, all you got to do is double tap the icon right there and your phone will make a ringtone so you can find that too. Super cool. So if you've got some extra cash now that the holidays are over, or you just want to treat yourself to something nice, or you missed somebody over the holidays and you want to get them something, head over to the link that's in the description of this video or in the pinned comment and make sure that you use the code TankTheTech at checkout because you can get up to 55% off any of the Ekster products that are on their website. So thank you to everybody that took the time to watch this video. Thank you very much to Ekster for sponsoring this video and for being my wallet of choice every day. And now, back to the video. You know, I'm not going to go into full detail about everything just because I do have another video where I talk about getting sober and stuff like that. But I first stopped drinking in 2017. January 17th, 2017 was the last time I drank ever because I had turned into an alcoholic. Touring in country music really did that to me. I'm not saying anybody forced me. It's just like the lifestyle of touring in country music. There's so much booze and drinking is more socially acceptable that I already had an addictive personality and definitely an alcoholic. So I just, got a little out of control. So one day I decided to stop drinking. And I will admit at first it was a little weird. I was very much dead set on it mentally, like not drinking at all. So I won't say that I ever had the overwhelming urge to go drink anymore, but socially it was a bit weird because not everybody knew that I was trying to get sober. Like there were situations where we were in where somebody would offer me a drink and I'd say, no, thank you. And they would take it as an insult. Well, I'm offering you a drink. Why don't you take it? And I was like, well, I don't drink. So it's kind of hard having that conversation. Like, there was one tour that we did shortly after I became sober, where one of the artists that was co-headlining this tour wanted to get everybody on the band and crew backstage after the first show to like, hey, congratulations, first show of the tour. Everything went good. Everything's cool. And they had their production assistant pass out shots to everybody. And when they got to me, I said, no, thank you. And this artist, this country artist, actually called me out in front of everybody. He made like a big deal about me not taking a shot. He's like, no, everybody's drinking. We're celebrating. You have to drink too. And I'm like, no. And luckily I had people from my camp that I was touring in kind of back me up and be like, yo, dude, he said he doesn't drink, back off. But believe it or not, I've actually early days of being sober too. Like, I went to a bar that I used to go to a lot because it's a really good burger place in Nashville. And my wife and I used to go all the time. And I went in there for lunch one day with a friend and I sat down and asked for a Diet Coke. And this guy's like, oh, come on, you're not going to get a beer with your burger? And I was like, no. And he's like, dude, we got 150 beers in this place. Like, that's what we're known for. I'm like, oh, I'm well aware. I've been here many times. I was like, but I don't want to have a beer. I don't drink. And he's like, come on, man. One isn't going to hurt. And I'll tell you right now, if you're a bartender and somebody tells you that they are sober and you tell them one isn't going to hurt, you're a fucking asshole. And you should be held accountable for whatever that person does. Dude, I consider somebody that knows somebody is an alcoholic and is sober and tries to get them to drink, that's basically like somebody being like an accessory to a crime, in my opinion. If you're a bartender, you should have more sense of trying to convince somebody to have a beer if they tell you they're sober. Exactly. That's like saying, here's a loaded gun. I've toured with people that have asked me, what would happen if you had a drink with us right now? I'm like, don't know, man. Because once I have one, I can't stop, and who fucking knows what's going to happen after that. That's why I don't drink. I can't control myself. But I will say, after a while, it became pretty normal on tour. A lot of people that I've toured with, a lot of production managers, tour managers in the past, like, they'd always try and get like non-alcoholic beer for the bus for me, which I don't really do, to be honest. I don't mind non-alcoholic beer. Like, I've had once every now and then, just cause, but like, I actually have known a lot of people that have relapsed from being sober from drinking non-alcoholic beer. Like, they have a few and then the taste gets to them and stuff. Like, everybody's different. You got to remember that too. Everybody is different in their sobriety. There are a lot of people that probably wouldn't handle certain situations the way I do. I know people that can't go out into public to like bar settings and stuff like that because just being around that much drinking makes them want to drink. Nowadays, I'm okay. But like in the early days, it was kind of funny because I'd have other crew guys try and sneak beers around me. They act like I'm like some crazy, like I'm going to lose my mind if I see a beer. Like, I'd have crew guys that are walking on the bus and they have like a bottle of beer hidden under their arm so I don't see it or something like that. And I'm like, guys, you can do whatever you want. What you guys do has no effect on me. Unless you're physically holding me down and pouring alcohol in my mouth, there's nothing you could do that makes you guilty of making me relapse or want to drink or anything. So I would say for me, I'm used to it at this point. It has been so long since I've drank that I really don't care anymore. But if I do ever feel weird or get into a situation, which doesn't really happen a lot anymore, I just remind myself why I'm sober. One, because I'm an absolute monster when I drink. And everybody around me is better off with me not drinking or doing drugs. That's a big part of it. And two, my family. I honestly don't ever want my daughter to ever see me drink or use or anything. And that's a big part of my motivation. Now, specifically related to the question that was asked, is it difficult to stay sober while touring with the Electric Callboy guys? I would say no, because they drink a lot. Like, I mean, but no more than any other band I've toured with. Like, they enjoy their cocktails and their beers and they're German to begin with. So they enjoy their beer. It's nothing out of hand. Like, I can honestly say in the last North American tour I did with them, there were no issues, let alone issues caused by anybody being drunk. We had many nights where a lot of us went out. Like, I went to bars with the guys, even though I wasn't drinking. We stayed out drinking and hanging out, and nobody got sloppy drunk or ridiculous or anything like that. Like, there were absolutely no issues with them. And they were very, very respectful of me, knowing that I don't drink as well. Actually, they were so respectful to a point where it never even became a thing. It was just normal. Like literally the first time we started the tour, they just knew that I was sober. They didn't make a big deal about it. And that's what it was. So now that I'm talking about it, it's kind of crazy that like they never even made it weird. They treated me like a normal person, like they'd known me forever, and like never made a big deal about me not drinking or a big deal about them drinking or anything like that. Yeah, absolute professionals through and through, in my opinion. I did have a moment on the Electric Callboy tour where I did drink a beer though. Now, let me rephrase that. I accidentally took a sip of a beer. I did not come back and drink the rest of it. And it was a crazy situation because I will say I felt like I freaked out at first. So what happened where we were, I remember we were in Salt Lake City, actually. The show was over. I was getting ready to go to the production office to settle with the production manager at the venue. And I was thirsty, so I reached into the refrigerator in the dressing room and grabbed a can of Coke. Like there's just a red can with white lettering. Walked up to the production office, sat down, started talking to settling out with the production manager, and I cracked this, what I thought was a Coke, and I took a pretty big swig because I was thirsty. You know, when you drink something really fast and you're not thinking about the taste, like you can pound something before you really taste it. That's what happened. I took a huge swig, and then immediately when I took a breath through my nose, like the taste hit me, and I was just like, I still had some in my mouth, and I literally ran out of the room and fucking spit into a trash can that was out there and walked back in. And the production manager and the production assistants to the venue were like, "Are you okay?" And I picked up the can and looked at it. It was a local beer from Salt Lake City. I don't know what it was, but it was the exact color of a Coke can, red, that same color red. And it had like white and silver writing on it. So I guess really fast, not paying attention, I just thought it was a Coke. That was the first time I'd had alcohol like on my lips, in my mouth, whatever, in 6 years. And I was like, kind of had a momentary freak out. And I even went back to the dressing room, and I think one of the guys, I forgot who it was like, "What's wrong?" And I told them what happened, and they were just like, "Are you okay?" And that's when I really was like, yeah. I don't feel like I need to go back and drink anymore. So yeah, I think I'm good. Borg in chat just said, "Do I have someone to call for those moments?" Yeah, tons of people. I have so many friends like in the sober community now that like when that stuff happens, actually the next day we were in Denver, and during my lunch in Denver at the show at the Ogden Theater, or not the Ogden Theater, the Fillmore. I don't know why I said Ogden. One of my sober friends in Denver actually came and had lunch with me, and we had coffee, and I just talked to him about it and stuff like that. And that's one of those moments where he's like, "Dude," he goes, "I think you'd be surprised how often that actually happens to like everybody in sobriety. There's like so many people, like they just accidentally take a drink of something, or they're out with friends and drinks get mixed up or something." He goes, "As long as you don't go back to take that second sip, you haven't messed up your sobriety at all." But I will say too, being sober in the music industry, like it's almost, I have seen like managers and bands I work for, they almost have a sigh of relief. Like when I tell them that I don't drink or do drugs, like that I am sober. Because they always know that they're going to have somebody that's in their right mind, even if it's a band that drinks a lot. So I would honestly say that at this point of me being sober, no issues whatsoever. And the Electric Callboy guys being on the road with them were like super respectful about it and fine. Like there were no issues, no nothing. But I mean, for those of you that I did see in chat that were saying it looks like the Electric Callboy guys like drink and party and stuff, like our rider, I'll tell you what was in our North American rider for alcohol right now. Like the last updated North American rider I had was 1 case of good quality local beer. And in notes, I have Pilsner or Lager preferred because everybody would just bring IPAs, and the Germans hated the IPAs so much. Quick, do the math. What's 6 times 6? 36. Quick maths. 36 Corona bottles a night. Sometimes that would turn into 48, just depending on how difficult it was shopping. 2 750 milliliter bottles of vodka, 2 half-liter bottles of gin, and 3 750 milliliter bottles of Jägermeister. That's per night. For me, that doesn't seem that bad as a tour manager looking at a rider. Yeah. Just to clarify, that's not like just for the band members. That's for the entire touring party. Electric Callboy band, Electric Callboy crew. Really not that crazy in my opinion. I have seen some people comment like about how much they like to party and stuff like that. And, you know, on their vlogs, they're like, "Oh, they're partying." But I'm like, yeah, but you can also edit your vlogs to look however you want to. I'm not saying they don't party, but it's like a lot of them are actually very low key family dudes. I mean, a few of them have kids. It's not like they're going out and getting blackout hammered all the time. With the time difference, a lot of the time, the guys were back on the bus by like 11 p.m. midnight so that they could FaceTime with their kids and their wives and stuff. I honestly think the Electric Callboy tour is a lot more professional and a lot less raging party than you guys would think it is. At least in my experience of touring with them. And who knows how it's going to be when I get to Europe. Maybe it's different. I don't know. But they definitely seem like the kind of people that like they can party and they know when to cut it off and not get out of hand. As opposed to a lot of other people I've toured with that party and get out of hand every single night. Country artists, I'm looking at you. But anyways, man, this is always interesting to talk about because I'm always curious on how people have fascination in this. Because I guess it is like I am the weird one because I don't drink on tour. Because drinking is so common and normal that I guess, yeah, that would make me the oddball out. But if there's anybody out there that struggles with drugs or alcohol and stuff, just know that there are a lot of people out there that have the same issues. And there's probably a lot of people that be willing to talk to you about it if you do have those issues. At least on my Discord, like I said, we do have a sober lifestyle channel where you can come and ask questions and hang and vent or whatever. But if you do feel like you have a serious problem, I would highly recommend finding like some kind of recovery or addiction group in your area that you can go to if you need to. I often do that on tour if we have a day off. I don't always feel like I need to go to meetings because I really don't need to go to meetings for myself anymore. I just like to go when I'm on tour just to meet different people and hear different stories and possibly help somebody else. But it worked for me. I mean, you'd be surprised sitting in a group of other alcoholics or drug addicts can really help you out. If any of you guys have any questions, you can always leave something on YouTube and I'll try and answer what I can. But to everybody in the Twitch chat, thank you for being here and thank you for your encouraging words. I appreciate it a ton. But that's going to be it for me. If anybody's watching on YouTube later and you'd like to join us on Twitch for random conversations, you can go to twitch.tv/TankTheTech. I'm also on a ton of different social media. At TankTheTech is my handle on just about everything. That's really about it. So until next time, wherever you are in the world, be safe. Be kind to each other. I love you all, and I will see you very soon.